Welcome back everyone, this is my third project for Kitaholic Kits for the month of August, and I am doing another triangle shaped layout. So I had the idea of creating a bit of a diamond in the middle of the page of my 12 by 12 layout, and to do that I thought I would create this diamond that sort of comes out with pattern paper essentially. Now that's my idea. As you can see, I'm laying it out there and I'm like, ooh, that's probably not going to be the right size, it's going to be too big. So I cut them down and then I cut them too small, and then I was like, oh, now it's going to be too small. So I rectified that by deciding I'm going to mat it on that stripy paper, which I'd pulled out for this project anyway, so I was happy to do that. And then I stick those on, and then I actually went to sleep. I filmed this late at night and I was tired, so I came back the next day to finish it off. And overnight I decided, instead of doing a sort of a diamond shape, it's still going to be a diamond shape, but it's going to be slightly different. I'm going to basically flip or turn the angle of so I'm going to do that instead. And yeah, so I thought about it, I liked it, but then I needed 2 more pieces, and I'm going to do that using, so if you see what I did there, I took the template of what I cut, the remainder of what I cut off that little cross stitch pattern, and that's how I'm sizing it to make sure it's the right size. I loved that subtle mint flower daisy paper. It was so beautiful, and my photos are very neutral, so I could really have fun with colors here. So, and because all these papers are matching, it was just perfect. So I am matching these 2 on that same stripy paper but at a different angle, and I like how that looks. In saying that, I do kind of cover this all up so it doesn't end up looking as I'd envisioned it. I think if my photos were smaller, you would have seen this pattern. Like, this is what I created. I was like, oh, I like that. So I'm just going ahead and sticking them down. I'm finding the center of my page because I'm going to use that to stick it down. Sure, there's an easier way to do this honestly, but I then measured 1.25 inches from the end, and then I centered it, and that's kind of how I stuck it all down. It was probably a bit more complicated than what it needed to be, but anyway. So once I stuck it down, I realized that I had a lot of white space between these triangles, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do on there? Now, you could do stitching. I was thinking of that. I was thinking of doing little drawing, but I did this in a project a little while ago for another layout that I did, where I just took this piece of string, this twine, and I just stuck it straight onto the page, and that created the same texture as what stitching would do. Maybe not quite so dimensional, well, more dimensional really, because it doesn't go in and out of the page, but it is just so much easier to do, and I don't have to do a whole bunch of hand stitching. So I'm showing you how I did this one. I literally just took a ruler, I drew with a pencil, and then I followed it with my glue and I stuck it down. This is very messy, I got glue everywhere, but in the end I think it looks quite nice. Then I thought I needed more, because minimalist was never in the option for in the cards for me, and so I'm adding these little dash border with this gold, and I like how that looks, but down the track you'll see I actually outline the whole layout with that gold as well. Now, I knew I wanted my photos to be a fair bit smaller, and that's what I'm doing here, but I couldn't get them small enough. If I had the energy, I would have probably, oh, sorry about that, baby's awake, but Dad's with her. If I had the energy, I would have probably reprinted them, but I didn't have the energy, so I didn't do that. I like these doilies, but and I was going to use them on this layout, but then I just sort of forgot. They were just sitting there the whole time being unused. So I'm going to mat my photos. This one, the bigger one, I'm matting on this piece of paper here, and the other 2 I'm matting on white. The next job was to stick them onto the layout, which actually turned out to be so much more challenging than what I thought, because that twine creates a fair bit of dimension, and so the photos would have buckled if I didn't prop them up on foam tape. So you'll see me down the track how I do this. I'm also matting them all on vellum. So down the track you'll see how I lay the photo down where I want it, and then I mentally say, okay, this is where the foam tape's going to be. Then I flip it over, add some foam tape. Then I flip it back down, and I flip it over. So the foam tape is really weirdly scattered over the back of the thing, but it's so that I left space for the twine. That was that. Now, luckily, my foam tape is very similar thickness to my twine, which is a relief. So that's decided what I wanted to do, and then I'm just going to start sticking this down. This is just a sweet little story. Adelie had been smiling for a while now, but she was like really getting into it. And I just thought, like, I think she'd been smiling for maybe a month or two. And she just like is so happy first thing in the morning, and I wanted to really document these like happy smiles that she gave to her dad. And yeah, that's what I did. So I stuck my photos down, and then I'm going to add my title. And I was like, obviously I want to do smile because she's smiling. And then at this stage, baby woke up. She was asleep next to me up until now. And so you might see a little hand popping in and out as I do this. So there she is. Justin thought that was Emma's hands when he watched this video back. And I was like, no, that's baby. Adding some flowers, and this is really where the whole idea of having this like 4-section quadrant type layout is just, it kind of goes missing because you just really gets lost. But I don't mind, I like how it looks anyway. Adding a label, we got this from the kit last month, I believe. And what am I going to do next? I'm deciding. Just adding some tiny word phrases. She completely destroyed this sheet. I'm wresting it away from her now. You can see it's completely mangled because she like tried to grab it off me. But yeah, I add those little tiny words. I'm taking the 3 cameras that was on this little thicker sheet. I'm propping them up above all my little clusters that I've made. And then I'm going to add my journaling, and then I think I'm done. Then I'm going to add my border, which I've discussed. I felt like it just needed a border. So it's kind of like 4 giant triangles and then 4 little triangles. I'm going to take these little enamel dots. Honestly, my brain sometimes, like, I've said enamel dots a bajillion trillion times and it just left. So I'm just taking some enamel dots in matching colors, and then I'm going to take my little pen, which I love doing, adding little diddy dots. And I don't know if I do it off camera or if I do it on camera, but I do add some Nuvo drops as well, some gold Nuvo drops, because it's just sitting on my desk. I guess I've just left. Anyway, adding the date and then this layout will be done. Thank you for joining me. I will see you all again next week for another project. Bye.